You should see a little message about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if anybody else joins us, but we'll show them this video. I think it's easier to be here. If you guys wouldn't mind, go grab your smartphones. We're going to be using them with Pear Deck. All right.
Got it.
So first,
I'll be back with my smartphone. You just go ahead.
Okay. Oh, wait, we're good. If you're watching this recording, your smartphone won't work, but at least we'll hold up ours so you can see, because when we do it live, we're going to do this one live. It can be used when students are doing it asynchronously as well, but since we've got folks here, we're going to do it synchronous. So either way. So we'll wait till Julia gets back. So let me explain Pear Deck, and then we're going to do one, and then we'll show you how I did it. So what Pear Deck is a way to, if you're having a live class or a class that's watching at a later time, to get them more active in the process. So what they're going to be able to do is do some critical thinking. They're going to do some social emotional learning, all happening at the same time. And it just uses PowerPoint or Google Slides. So whatever you're used to when you do this assignment, if you're used to PowerPoint, use PowerPoint. If you're used to Google Slides, please use Google Slides. I have some videos in the assignment area to remind you how we did all this, but hopefully this video as we participate will help. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so I can get us rolling, and I'm going to include some computer sound. And let me go to that screen that I need. Okay. So you guys both seeing my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Good. So I'm going to come back here later, but what I started with is I went to peardeck.com, and you guys don't have to do this now if you just want to watch. And for the very first time, you can set up a free account. May I make a big important notification here? If you're a CVCC faculty, do not use your college CVCC email. Long story, but another email if you would. Okay, so here we are at Pear Deck. Now, I'm going to pretend that you guys are my students today in my class. And so I have gone myself to office.com if I'm using PowerPoint. Office.com is what we call the free online version of PowerPoint. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but this is nice that anyone can use it, so your school would not have to have a paid subscription to PowerPoint. And what I have done here at office.com is I've clicked on PowerPoint and opened a slide deck. Now, this slide deck we'll talk more about, but this slide deck could have your regular old-fashioned high slides. Here is our content. It could have come with your book. But what I've done inside this slide deck is also add some special Pear Deck slides that interact with the students. So I'm going to come back here and show you how I made it go, but for now I want to show you what happens for the students. So I'm going to click Present with Pear Deck. When I go to present as a teacher, I can do a student-paced activity. That's a fancy word for saying asynchronous. It means when the teacher's not doing anything, when the students 24/7 want to come in here and participate. But today I am here, so I'm going to do an instructor-paced activity or synchronous real-time activity. When I do that, up pops this little screen, whether I'm in Google Slides or whether I'm in PowerPoint. And this is where I'm going to get the participants who are with us today, my colleagues, to join in. So here is what I want you guys to do. Grab your smartphone if you're live with us right now, and open a browser on any kind of phone. So whether you open Chrome or Safari or whatever, right? This is the website we're going to go to. We're going to go to joinpd.com, joinpd.com. and click go or whatever for it to go. And once you go to joinpd.com, you should, and I'm showing my screen here, you should get where it says enter a code with a cute little pair for Pear Deck. And I love how they do this, just in case students can't figure out if that's a 1 or an O or a 0. You know how these things go. They give you underneath underwhelmed elephants officiate acidic pears to show you it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase to type in a U, E, an O, an A, and a P. And it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase, but seconds after doing that, on anyone's device in the class, so we're typing in U, E, O, A, P, and it's showing me that from the 3 of us who are live today, 2 people are connected, so we'll get the 3rd person to join us. And can I help any? Oh, all 3 of us are there. Okay. So I'm going to ask everyone else, what animal does it tell you at the top that you are today?
I'm a crane.
You're a crane. Cool.
I'm
What
a
are you?
a
what?
piranha.
A piranha. I'm an armadillo. Now, this is used from kindergarten through college, so the names are kind of cute, but the rest will look a little more academic. So now I'm going to start my class, and as I go to start class, it's asking everybody on their device, how are you feeling today? You could skip it or share that. So, and what will happen is whatever slides, whether Google or PowerPoint that you have, are you now seeing my slide right here on your device? Very good. So now we can use this for critical thinking, whatever we're teaching, and I want to get you guys involved now. So I'm going to show you this screen, and that we're seeing it on the devices as well. It's saying stress check. Are you in a good place and can focus? Is something bothering you? Or I can't manage my emotions or behaviors right now. Don't forget, if we're going to be remote with students, it becomes a little more important to kind of check in on them. This you might not choose to show the entire class, but it is anonymous. But I can dig into it if I see a student who's way on that 10. So here's what I want you to do. There's a purple line on your phone. I want you to kind of move it around to kind of what you're feeling right now. And then look up and look at the teacher side of this. I'm going to now click Show Responses. And when I do, I can see everybody's purple line, and you can move them around live, of where everyone's kind of feeling. And it's nice to kind of check in with everybody of where they are. But this does more than that. I'm going to be right back, but I have a vacuum robot that just went on. I'm going to stop it.
At least you're making yours work. I haven't done that lately.
I haven't either. Oh, that's good.
Okay, wouldn't you know, the IT professor has robotics all over the house. Now you caught me. And I can ask any question. Let me ask all of you this question. What best describes your current expected fall remote learning environment? So everyone on their device can click Answer Question, and they're going to see 3 choices: synchronous, asynchronous, or both.
Where do you see the question?
Are you seeing the question?
Bottom right.
Yeah, bottom right. It's in green. It should say Show Question. And so answer whether it's synchronous, asynchronous, or both. And then we can show some of the responses. Have you guys answered yet? Yep, I got another both and an asynchronous. Good, good, good. Synchronous means same time. Asynchronous means kind of running the course without being live, and then both. I'm going to end up being both. Now, here's what's cool. I can come up to the top left. Look up at my screen right now. And I can either do it where I can see individual answers, or I can see the class answers all together. And that's going to be important when I do individual answers, let's say more of not a multiple choice. This could happen during an online faculty meeting. Let's say the other day we had a great speaker at CVCC I really did enjoy. A woman who was sharing about making equity on campus, making sure that at any grade level that we are respecting all students. So here's what I'm going to have everyone do. Click answer the question, but this question, here's what I want you to do. Put your 2 initials in it, put your 2 initials, put a space, and then how can we make our campus more inclusive? Now in mine, I am going to put respect everyone, but you can answer how you would like to. And after I give time for everyone to respond, I can come down here to the bottom and click show responses. And now I can kind of see everyone's answer here. So if you needed to grade the answer, you can have them put their initials or maybe assign them a number for privacy. But this way, if you kind of want to see everybody's feedback. So let me stop for a moment. What do you guys think of having a little bit more interactivity during when you're teaching? What do you guys think?
I love this if it's a smaller class.
Yeah.
Julia? I like it because I have been online for a few years and kind of had the feeling, not having a set time that I'm supposed to meet with them, that it's all done through the written word. So I like having a name with a face.
Yeah. And also this could be, even if it's a remote class fully, they can still go in here and answer and see other, the responses and so forth. So that's possible. And it can be used in any subject area. I just happened to show you one that was teaching science, but it could be, whether you're teaching criminal justice or math or science. For example, look at this one. Use the word bank to the left to label the diagram. So if you look at your device, you now have all of these colors. So I'm going to pick red, but if you guys want to pick a different color, and I'm going to draw a line from mantle to this inner core right here. So mantle to this inner core. And when I start clicking show responses, do you see everyone's starting to put some of their answers? We can do an overlay to see everything. By the way, I don't know if that really is the mantle, but okay. So you can do any of these type of things. Let me show you other things. We have a few folks in here from the younger grades in our class. I want to show you it's not just for college or high school. Let's try this one. Circle the items that start with a B, and you can replace any text and any images. So instead, you could have a crime scene picture, and they could circle what are some things that they should, take as evidence even. So I'm going to pick one of my colors and circle a bat maybe, and both bats, a balloon. I don't think a duck counts. A bug should count. So now when I click show responses, do you see everyone's responses here? And we could do it separately. To see what other people have responded or broken down. And it does kind of make everyone, if you're kind of peeking in on them, it does make them a little more interactive as we go. You can put your own slides in here. I put my family, emotional check-ins, some of the things I would typically do. I can do this at the beginning of class, a moment of silence as you come in, find your seat quietly if we were doing it in a live class. You could allow students to come up with their own thoughts regarding whatever topic you feel in here. Describe a perspective different from your own. And I've got a couple criminal justice folks in here. Give me, guys, if you don't mind, what would be a topic that students would have their own perspective on as an example? Sorry to put you on the...
Oh no, capital punishment is a biggie.
Sure, I bet. And everyone feels differently about that. And and no one's right or wrong necessarily. Only history might tell that, but yeah, so that would be a good one. And that way, and it might be in a situation that you don't show the responses. It might be something that you go look at later. There is a teacher side of this that's kind of tracking what students say. So if you wouldn't want that to be open. I change pictures of this for high school or college. I don't like, this is a little too young. But you could say, was someone in our class helpful this week? Or, you know, what's a shout out of someone who has made a great comment today? This is something I do with more elementary. If you could have any superpower, which one would you choose today? And I want to take a moment to show you something. I'm actually going to open on my screen joinpd.com, and I'm going to pretend this works on any type of device. This code is up here at any point in time. So I can copy that in and put it right in here. I want to show you on any slide that we're on, there is something called the Immersive Reader, and we're on this slide right now. If you could have any superpower, here's what it looks like on a PC or a tablet or whatever. But notice down here, and look on your phone, guys, you'll see it in front of answer your question. On a PC or a Mac, or is usually in the corner. Let me show you what this is. This is called the Immersive Reader. Please understand today that we know 1 in 5 students, even adults, is dyslexic in some way. It could be dysgraphia, which is more numbers, or dyscalculia. But we know that, and a lot of times the students don't. They just know they have trouble reading in our class. So what this does at any age is, if we click on this in any question, it could read it to them. Let's listen in.
If you could have any superpower, which one would you choose?
And for my teachers who are watching the recording today who teach younger grades, you can make more contrast on the background if that would help with them with their low vision. You could turn on different parts of speech like nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. And I do want to tie this in. This is also in Flipgrid, which we did the first 2 weeks. So this same tool called the Immersive Reader is in here. It's also in OneNote, and it also can be in any browser. It's also in Microsoft Word. It's just everywhere. And it can also do reading preferences. I can turn on something called a picture dictionary. Let's say we're talking a first grade student that's just learning to read. They can click on these, and some of these words, I'm not getting good ones here. Some of them would have pictures here to show us, and we could also translate it into 67 different languages. So if we had a parent helping out and they don't speak English, or the student has just moved here, this would really be helpful. So on any question, it can do translation and do all of these pieces and parts. So now that I go back here, let me go back to my little questions that I'm continuing on with. There we go. I want to show you, let me go back. Keep on going here, continue. I want to show you that we can do any kind of questions. It could be dates in time. We could do chronology, and they could draw lines. And again, you can change any of these. For example, you may have it more wide open. I observed, describe what you saw, what happened in your biology experiment. Or it could be describe what you noticed as evidence in that video we just watched. It could be higher level. It could be something like the periodic table. And it could be things that are just more wide open. What conclusions do you draw from what we've just talked about, or the video we just watched? So I love this because it gets them to think more critically. I think so often courses, K-12 and college, have turned into an A, B, C, D multiple choice instead of allowing students to really develop their thoughts and their writing. What do you think I should know about you? Getting to know each other. It could be materials that are needed to try something in home learning. It could even involve a map, and I wanted to stop and show this one. If you click answer question on this one, what actually happens is it opens Google Earth on their device. We're not going to go all the way into it, but now they could do an activity on any website in the world. and you wouldn't have to, keep reading the website out, especially if it's a really long one. But now if they hit their, if they click answer question, they can go back on this. You can do foreign languages to illustrate the sentence. You can do math. So I want to show you where I'm getting these graphs, because I really believe that every student deserves a voice. So where am I getting all of these decks from, and how did I do this? So now that you kind of see how this works, let me now, and by the way, you can even do maps. Real quick, if you guys are still on here, put where you're from originally, maybe where you were born or anything like that. So now we can put that in here. So if I wanted to put where I am from, and even if a student joins late, they can join us, I can move my heart. I'm actually from Miami, Florida, but I'm going to go ahead and put it over here. My father was born in Berlin, Germany. So I'll stick it there. So now we can kind of move everything around. And when I go back to my presentation here, if I want to show the responses, I can see everybody's hearts, where it's from. So I just love that pretty much any type of question with mapping, with, dragging anything, we can do. I love doing this. Think of a question your classmates might have. And again, if I were doing older students, I would, put a different picture in as we go. So now I want to stop this, and I now want to hit end in the bottom right-hand corner. And I want to show you now, how did I create this? Now that you see what it does. So let me start again. By the way, you can save your responses. I could call this 11 a.m. August 21. And if I wanted to ever look back at anyone's responses, I can see any of these responses at another time. So I'm now going to stop it from being the student-teacher relationship. Let me now pretend we're all teachers, because we are, and show you how did I get this set up. So step one, let me go back and refer to here. I went to the website peardeck.com, and I created a free account. You will notice something here called pricing. Everything I've shown you today is free, but if you wanted a grade book and so forth in Pear Deck, there is a cost. I do not use that, honestly. So if you're interested in that, but most of our schools already have some kind of grade book. So we're going to be using this for fully free. We don't need a grade book, so that's fine. So you'll create a free account. Once you create a free account, let me show you what also is good to know about. I'm going to click under Teacher Resources. Under Teacher Resources, I can explore the content that's here. And if I go under Explore the Content, they call it the Orchard. Think about it, Pear Deck, the Orchard, it'll hit you later. And as I scroll down this Orchard, these are these hundreds of different slides that I could put in an existing or even new PowerPoint or Google slide. And if I just keep scrolling down and click See All Templates, I can find all of these templates that I may want to use. Now, for our example that you're going to do for homework, you can just add a few slides. I just want you to get the idea. You don't have to make a huge presentation or anything like that. But as I scroll down, let's just look around. These would be Pear Deck templates that would be great at the beginning of the class. Maybe asking you, and again, you can switch the pictures out to appropriate your grade level and even switch out the text. It's the slide that's the important piece, because it's kind of got like this built-in power. Look right here. If you were a teacher who uses Google Slides, download this one or open this one. So if I click Google Slides right here, it asks me to log into my Google account. Otherwise, if I click PowerPoint, it opens PowerPoint slides like this. But notice these are read only in PowerPoint. So what we're going to need to do, if you're PowerPoint, is click on File and download them. Why? If they're read-only, you can't make any changes. So this is the only hassle in this project, is you do have to click download. So I'm just going to download a copy of this PowerPoint. And now I could work with this template deck right here, add some of my materials, change any of the questions, delete some of these. So maybe I go into this and I say, what did you learn from your homework? Well, let's say we don't call it homework in our class, from yesterday's project. So I could change this to whatever the nomenclature I use in my class. And let's say I don't want this girl, or yeah, I could go to insert picture, go to online pictures, like I do in PowerPoint, and I could put college student, or if I were, talking about administrative justice, I could put a police officer right in here. And that way it might reference something I learned in the class yesterday about this case in law we were working on. Make sense? But what's important about this is don't get rid of this little QR code here, because that's what powers it, if that makes sense. And I could delete this slide. So after I go in and find these, let me go back to that template screen. Let me just show you what some of the categories, how to build community, how to celebrate students. And you can actually copy one slide from here, 2 slides from here, 3 slides from here. You don't have to only use one deck. And as I go through, there's critical thinking, deepening instructional practice, hard topics to discuss. Maybe a good one here would be Black Lives Matter, really digging into, why do we respect the community, but we want to respect our police as well, the whole picture. That's a hard topic to bring up, obviously. During the lesson, end of lesson, examples. If you're watching today and you teach younger grades, this one's awesome. This is for younger kindergarten, first grade, second. If you're a math teacher, you want some social and emotional connections with your students. Social studies, world languages, science, gratitude, English, any of these, but it doesn't matter. You can turn any question into anything because you pick the text and the type of response. So I want you to pretend that you've now, either in Google or in PowerPoint, you now have a few slides that you want to use in your class, or you can have hundreds of slides in your class. It doesn't matter. You would need to save this, if you're using PowerPoint, to what we call the cloud or OneDrive. We could just go to File and Save As. I'm going to save to my personal account right here, or to whatever account you want. Why do we save to the cloud? Because we're going to be using it online, and this allows me to use it online. So by saving it in the cloud, I go to File once again, Save As, and pick anything that says OneDrive. And now my last step is to now open it to get ready for my class to join me. If we were using Google Slides, I would open Google. If I'm in using PowerPoint, I would go to office.com, log in with your free Microsoft account. Careful, if you're a CVCC person, they've got everything locked down so much it's easier to log in just with a free Microsoft account. Sorry about this, but talk to David Lightfoot. Okay, so you could then open whatever slide deck that you've created. And let me show you how to get it going. Last step. I know this one is probably the hardest assignment we do because there are so many steps, but yet it's so powerful in what it can do. Anything worth doing has a few steps. And once you have it set up, you don't have to go through all these steps every time, obviously. So if you're using online PowerPoint, you have to get what we call an add-in for Pear Deck. To get an add-in for anything, we can go to the Insert tab of PowerPoint. Don't forget, this is all being recorded, so you can watch it, stop, start, play. I'm going into the Insert tab, and I'm going to something called Add-ins. If you're Google, super simple, you already have it. So I would go to the store right here, and I think I'm logged in as me, so let me go back to this one. I'm going to go to Insert tab into Add-ins, and I would just go to the store and type in I'm about to use Pear Deck. So when I go to the store here, let me just, I can, sorry, I'm already logged into something and already have it. So I would go to the store, type in Pear Deck right here, and what would show up, because I already have it, would be this Pear Deck add-in. So go to store, type in just Pear, you'll see it pretty quick. It'll place in your add-ins. So now that that add-in is there, go to Home, click on the last 3 dots here, and you'll now see Pear Deck as an add-in. You'll have to log in with whatever Pear Deck email that you used before. And finally, we click Present with Pear Deck. And this is where you have that student, where students can do it on their own, or the instructor paste. And this is where you get the students in on it. This one will probably take you more than the 10 minutes that some other assignments took, but I think it's well worth it. It is, if you're trying to decide, am I going to do this in PowerPoint or Google, it is easier in Google because you don't have this downloaded part that PowerPoint has. You can just, at any point in time, click, for example, on critical thinking templates, grab, if you're in Google, any of these slides, and you can drag them right in because Google is fully online. This is one time Google makes it easier. Now, when you go to do the assignment this week, let me head there. You will notice, let me get logged into our course. Voila. When we go into Canvas and we go into our course, I want to show you some resources here that will help to make this easier when you get to Pear Deck for free. I'm going to put this recording right here, and I have the Pear Deck templates website all in. You can then, I'm going to also add a video in here for the Google to make it easier if you're using, I think it's right here, watch the additional items, watch the Google videos here, they're already here. So if you're a Google and just want to do this, they have these great videos, and it is easier in Google. Whoa, a lot of stuff, right? So how overwhelmed do you feel? You're allowed to say, I'm overwhelmed.
Definitely somewhat overwhelmed.
Yeah, this one is a little more steps, but it's now being used in Virginia by about half the K-12 and college environments right now. So it's become a big tool. The first time you use it, definitely a learning curve. I do want to show you, while we're still having this at the end of class, in the last week since I showed you Teams last, they've added a new feature, and I want to show it to you with you two in it. Notice I've clicked these 3 dots. There's something new that just was added called the Together mode. Do you guys want to be together? I'll show you what it is. So what the Together mode does, oh, it's not available right now. Oh, poo. Wouldn't you love that? See if I can get it working. We'll try it one more time, but now I'm going to have to show you what it is because I've made you think, what is this Together mode? There was a study that was recently done that found out that when we're on all these little squares in team meetings, it's exhausting to the brain because, you know, you're kind of trying to look at everybody's background. It's not available. So let me show you where I can show it to you real quick. So this new Together mode is getting activated across the industry. And I just think it is the craziest, coolest thing I've seen in a long time. So they did a study on the brain.
In 1850,
Sorry,
a promise was made to back you during times of plenty.
Skip ad.
And during times like this.
There we go.
Getting used to.
So they found that our brains kind of look like this. In other words, when we're in a regular Zoom or in Teams, your brain feels like it's kind of looking everywhere in this grid, and it makes it really busy. So at the end of the day, people who are in a lot of online classes feel like there's too much mental effort because you're looking around constantly, you're exhausted. But they found when they used this together mode, I'm about to show it to you, that there's a lot less mental effort and people weren't as exhausted. So what this is when we typically click the together mode, usually you have to have 4 or 5 people for it to work. It puts everyone in these slots. It could be in a library, in a coffee shop, but if you have a big class, it actually puts every student in these little seats like this, and you can still hear them and see them moving around, and but the brain isn't as challenged. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is the big new thing in education, is the new together mode. So if you hear people chatting about it, you'll go, oh, I so know what that is. They're actually doing this. You guys, since you guys are in administrative justice, they are now doing court this way, where they put people up in the little court spot so you're not seeing their homes for privacy's sake. And that way we can kind of have, like, it looks like a courtroom. You can make it look like, and put everybody where they should be in their seat. And it provides that privacy where people aren't seeing indicators of where you live and all those things that are just not okay. So interesting. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. Good.